promised, Eric and I are back with the news update for this week. And I have a full sheet, so I could imagine Eric. But what I'm going to do is table what I've found, and then Eric can elaborate and fill in the details for us, because I know how well researched he is. I would be remiss if I didn't begin the show with this story, and I'm actually dedicating it to the brave law enforcement men who have successfully rescued 163 children who were being trafficked. Why isn't this story all over mainstream? Why isn't every channel covering it? Based on what I have found out, since I do not watch anything on mainstream, someone told me they saw it on Fox News. But sadly, apparently, because I'm not sure, the other networks have never covered this story. Well, here it is, 163 children ranging from the ages of a few months to 17 years old, rescued in an operation in 5 days. First time ever. And this is why I am dedicating this segment to them and acknowledging their hard work, because every week Eric and I come on here and talk about how poorly run our law enforcement system is in this country, because apparently we have a lot more corrupt cops than good cops. And this is how it appears based on the fact that Eric is policing on his own all over the country. But today I am highlighting the good guys in law enforcement. And the fact that it's not all over the mainstream channels just confirms my suspicion that mainstream media's job is not for you to keep up with the news, but to keep you finding out the truth. And these are the types of stories, in my opinion, this is huge. 163 kids, people. And I will accompany a video here so you could see some portions of this rescue mission.
163 missing children have been found during a Florida-led operation that is now being called one of the largest child recovery efforts in United States history. The 163 children ranged from 2 months old to 17 years old. Officials reported 46 recoveries through the Tampa Bay region, 41 through Miami, 32 through Jacksonville, 21 through Orlando, 12 through Fort Myers, 8 through Pensacola, and 3 through Tallahassee. Although this operation was organized and led in Florida, some cases took investigators beyond the state. FDLE says that the operation also resulted in children being located or recovered in 6 additional states, Puerto Rico, and 12 other countries. Children were all missing under very different circumstances, so officials said that some were runaways, while other cases involved custody disputes, unsafe foster care situations, abandonment, neglect, abuse, or suspected human trafficking.
Eric, welcome back.
Hello, Jenny Lynn and Jenny Lynn's audience.
You've heard of this, right?
Yes, I did.
Do you want to share anything? You want to add anything to what I have just shared?
Yeah, so for one, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off what you just said, and congratulations to those law enforcement officers. And I feel bad sometimes because I spend so much time looking at the negative side of law enforcement, that there are a lot of good cops out there. And when we have these successful missions, they should get their due. This is a big deal to rescue, almost 200 kids. That's a good thing. Especially getting them out of the trafficking circles. It's not an easy task. So I'm very happy to hear that, and hopefully they continue that momentum and they can find more of these trafficking rings and stop them and bring all these kids home.
Well, I have to tell you, I was very emotional when I watched the video. I got chills and I was in tears because they showed some of the children. And some of the rescuers and some of the captions I watched, they clearly indicated that there is no way these children will ever be the same, because a lot of them have been violated in the most awful ways. And I would imagine anyone who is conscious of what's going on in the world in that particular aspect of our existence know it's not fun. People are being held against their will. And
Right.
I actually saw photos of children, all of them, when they were first rescued, had blue tape over their mouth. And I was horrified. I think that's horrific. I think, based on how I'm trying to suss it out, that this was probably done to keep them silent. How awful this is happening in our country. Well, there's more I could say on this, but because I think it's probably in my best interest not to say more, I won't. But hopefully these children a lot of them are receiving medical care, and hopefully there will be rehabilitation programs that can probably help them at least to get back to some form of normalcy. But I would imagine that they are going to suffer even though they're free. So all we can do is hope the best for them. And while we're on this topic, Eric, I'm going to table mine first, and then have you talk about them, and then you could tell us what you've got on your list. But the next one I really want to talk about is the CEO of the San Francisco 49ers. I hail from the Bay Area. I've been to many 49er games. I've sat in the stadium. My ex-husband was a season ticket holder, so I got prime seats. And I am just blown away. 3 attempts using fictitious names and $140? If you are the CEO of the 49ers, would you want to pay if you're going to do that? Although I'm not condoning it, what do you get for that money? I don't know. I don't have any experience with it. Eric, what do you want to say about this?
I mean, I believe this happened in Ohio too, didn't it?
Yes, in your
Yeah.
backyard. I
He was
hope you
going,
don't know those girls he was
he was going all the
soliciting.
way to Ohio to get some action. Like, they didn't have any in San Francisco or what? Like, what's going on?
Apparently, he was visiting his parents. Apparently, they live in Ohio.
Ah, okay. Well, I guess that
I
makes
don't
sense.
know. That's just
I get told
apparently.
I get told all the time that Ohio is blamed for everything. So it doesn't surprise me.
That's because it begins with an O and ends with an O.
Hmm. I mean, that does make a little bit of sense. But I don't understand these guys. When you have that immense amount of wealth like that, what do you need to do all that for? I mean, especially in getting caught is even worse, because now even in Ohio, like soliciting a prostitute is a misdemeanor. It's not even a jailable offense. It's just embarrassing. So like, there's other ways that he could accomplish these feats he's trying to accomplish without utilizing prostitutes. So I don't know.
I mean, it really makes you ponder. It's like, could it be because they think if they go, down to that level? Because I don't want to judge anyone. People are doing what they have to do to survive in today's
Right.
world. It's not easy, so I'm not here to judge anyone. But I was thinking, because you know me, I have to connect the dots and I have to suss it out and I have to make it make sense. I thought perhaps he thought, and this is just my guess, that if he went there, he was less likely to get caught
Most
because
likely.
someone like him would be looking in the upper echelon of the business. That's just my guess.
But you also have to take into consideration, like, we can downplay this and say, well, what a bonehead, why would he do something like that? But we also have to look at it as, even though we'd never looked at it through this lens in the past, is, prostitution is a form of human trafficking. So as we've elevated that kind of behavior through society, he is now going to be labeled as a John in the human trafficking world. So that's not going to be a good look for him. Especially as we want to make sure that the majority of people who get human trafficked are women. So is he helping victimize a trafficking victim? So these are all things we have to take into consideration. We don't really have any information on the female that he was caught with. So um, those are some things that I take into consideration. What was the age of the girl? What's her condition? Was she out there on her own accord, or did somebody put her out there? So those are all questions that I would have, before I do too much thought on it. And
But
yeah,
Eric, when have you ever heard any of these people that the stains associated with the shame very quickly, because so many people have them on pedestals, it disappears. It's like it never
yeah.
happened, and they carry on. Look at Epstein.
Well,
Look at all the
well,
people that were named, and they
this case
carry
is a
on.
misdemeanor, so it's a misdemeanor, so it will disappear on its own. So I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. Now, the Epstein case should never disappear on its own. That's a major, major, major felony.
Well,
So
the story surely got a lot of hype compared to the children who were rescued that we hear nothing about, except
yeah, that's really unfortunate. The good work of the law enforcement that rescued those kids, that should be on the headline of every news story for the next week.
so I want to reiterate, law enforcement, hats off to you good guys. Try to
Right.
convert the rest that are like deviating from the mission, if you know what I mean, and try to get them to join you on the bandwagon to do good, because that's why you're getting paid. I don't pay you, so clearly I can't tell you what to do, but I would hope that this would inspire more cops to do whatever these guys did in 5 days. All right, Eric. So the next one is, and I'm sure you probably have plans to talk about this also. Trump says something good may come out of the CIA head's unannounced visit to Russia. What's that all about?
So this was an unannounced visit. Obviously, Putin didn't even know it was happening. He had an event scheduled, and he had to cancel it to make sure he was on standby for this event. There's several theories floating around out there that this may have had something to do with the more intense battles that have been happening recently in Ukraine. There's also we do know, our intelligence does know, that Russia has been backdooring weapons into Iran through the Caspian Sea. So I think that's most likely what it was about, because the day before, Trump announced that he was going to initiate what he calls an economic D-Day on Iran, which means not only is he sanctioning Iran, but he's going to sanction any country caught helping Iran. So I think that's Radcliffe was going to Russia to say, hey, please, we do not want to sanction you. Please stop helping Iran. President Trump's not playing around. He will sanction you, and you will be exiled from the world market. Um, and Russia already is sitting on sanctions, but they're not exiled from the world market. And that's the difference that could happen. Iran is now going to be exiled from the world market. Nobody's going to be allowed to trade with them. So what that will do is it will choke their economy, and it will cause them to not be able to pay their soldiers, and they will also not be able to feed their people. So it will generally, probably in some point within 30 days, cause an uprising.
My God, it doesn't stop. It always takes on a new life. So a day or two after, and like again, I do not watch anything on mainstream. So bear with me on this, because I saw this on several of the news sources that I go to for my news, that the Russians took down the American flag after. Have you heard this? And if this is true, what do you know about it?
I haven't really heard anything about that, so I can't really
Okay.
speak too much on that. I do know that President Trump made an announcement earlier today that Russia is not going to strike. That he's very confident Russia will not strike anybody from NATO. So that's a positive comment, because I know that's something that they worry about there. Um, Russia's doing a lot of stuff, and we do have to be careful when it comes to Russia, because We don't. American media, it doesn't matter what media outlet you watch, whether it's right-wing media, left-wing media, moderate media, they are going to hate on Russia. Russia is automatically going to be our big bad wolf no matter what. And it's been like that since the 90s, probably the 80s. So I tend to, when I hear our media talk about Russia, I tend to tune it out, and I go find out from, European media or Russia's media, or Al Jazeera. I try to go find somebody who's a little bit more partial, uh, or more moderate towards Russia, rather than taking all the advice from, our American media, which paints Russia out to be this horrible country all the time.
Well, I know I'm gonna have people hating on me for this, but I don't think Russia's as bad as we are told it is. And it's only because I have very, very close friends living in Russia now. And I get information from them. And what they're experiencing is very, very different from what we are told is happening there. And then again, where do we get this from? The mainstream media, the place that has been designed to mislead and deceive and keep us from finding out the truth.
Right.
And I speak from experience. So I cannot tell anyone what to do. But if you want to know what is really going on, and I encourage you to, because things are happening that you need to know, and they will never report it. So,
Well,
Eric,
real quick, Genuine, think about this, everyone. Think about the last time you heard the mainstream media let cover President Putin talking. When's the last time you heard President Putin give a speech on American media, or even a clip of it? You don't. They don't want us to hear what President Putin is really saying, because we will change our mind about Russia.
I like him. I know that most politicians, and I'm going to leave it there because what just popped into my mind, if I say it, I'll be dead tomorrow. So I'm not going to say it. But what I can tell you guys, I don't know if any of you watching this has ever seen the interview between him and Tucker Carlson. When Tucker Carlson flew to Russia and interviewed him, and I was blown away. I mean, clearly he spoke in Russia and it was translated, but he articulated very well and was quite knowledgeable, which I hate to say, I call a spade a spade. If you watch me, you know that. Our politicians mumble, and I cannot say that I've actually heard one of them one time that impressed me with anything they've said. And compared to him, clearly he's presidential. No offense to anyone, my personal opinion, which I hope I'm still entitled to. So Eric, I don't want to hug the whole show. I've taken up my 15 minutes of the 30 minutes. You know, what are you bringing to the table this week that we need to know?
So I've been like wrapping up some of my investigations. I've had some of these families that I've been working on their loved ones' cases. They're waiting on results. So I've been kind of concluding some of those investigations and turning over my findings to these families. One of them was a guy in Kentucky that they found him floating in a pond on a random farm, and
Can
that
you
that
say
didn't.
their names or you can't? So
Yeah,
people
I
will
mean his name. So his name is John Smith. Ironically, the most common name in
John
history.
Smith, is that his real name?
Yeah, his real name's John Smith. He goes by John T. Smith.
Okay.
But this was the gentleman. His daughter reached out to me and asked me to help out to see what else we could find. I was able to narrow it down to a couple different suspects, which then come to find out that both of those suspects are very well known to each other. So I'm pretty sure I have it figured out as to what happened to this man. And was just turn that information over. He was found drowned. But what really happened was he was ran over. Both of his legs were broke, and so they threw him out in the pond. So he couldn't swim, with broken legs, and he just drowned in the pond. So the motive was a little bit hard to find between these guys, but it was family related. With his ex-wife had something to do with kind of gaslighting the
my
situation.
God.
So yeah, that was one that I was working on. And then I was working on another one. This one it was on Unsolved Mysteries and like some other big shows. But I'm going back through it, and I'm going to call it out like it is because the TV stations did not do it. It's the case of Chantel Humphreys. So this was back in I believe it was 2014. So Chantel Humphreys was found shot and dumped in a on off the side of some farm, and she was shot several times. The last person that she was with was a guy named Claude Russell. Now, Claude Russell was arrested for her murder, but they ran a rape kit on her and they found two different DNAs. So one of them was Claude Russell, which we know Claude Russell did date her. But they arrested Claude Russell anyway. Well, the sheriff didn't buy the story. The Kentucky State Highway Patrol was investigating it. The sheriff wasn't buying the story. So he conducted his own independent investigation, and he uncovered some things that the county prosecutor, that other DNA might be his, and that there may be a fetus inside of her that the DNA could match that prosecutor. So we are starting to narrow down the situation. Now, Chantel Humphreys, she was a black woman in a all white world. So a lot of times in Kentucky, I've run across this several times where the big shot politician sleeps with the minority in the community, accidentally gets her pregnant, and then they kill her because they don't want to mix the races. So I feel like that's probably happened here. But I'm still digging and still trying to, figure out exactly what happened. Right now, everything's kind of speculative, but the sheriff definitely did a very good job of bringing an alternate theory to the table that does make sense.
Man, Kentucky sounds like a lawless place. It sounds like the crimes are off the charts. It's just unbelievable, Eric. Like half of these cases you tell us about are happening in Kentucky. Is
I
that
mean, that's
because
right.
it's
That's
your
what I said.
focus now, or is the crime rate that high there?
So what happens is Kentucky's crime rate should be way higher, but what these counties do is they underreport. It's just like the missing person database. The one most people use is called NamUs. Now, if all the Kentucky sheriffs would actually do their jobs correctly and input missing persons into the NamUs system, it would be a lot easier to collect the data and track the data, maybe find patterns of where these people are going missing from. Are there similarities that we can find? There's so much information you can pull from a big database. But the problem is, and this happens with the murders, the overdoses, all their data is not accurate because they don't input anything in that count, in that whole state. It's just a big giant mess. But nationally, Kentucky is ranked 6th in corruption. So if they would actually do it right, they'd probably be first. So there's a lot of corruption. Every county, I have yet to find a county in that whole state that's clean. They all have something going on.
Well, it sounds like it was a sleepy town in terms of an Eric coming through, like storming Norman and unturning all the stones, and you're exposing them.
Yeah, I disrupted the good old boy system there, and I don't think they like it very much. I mean, I'm also dabbling into Mississippi still. I've got some stuff I'm working on there, and I've been getting an increasing interest from folks in Florida. So especially along that Emerald Coast, between
Isn't that where they rescued the kids? It's somewhere in Florida, huh?
Oh yeah, I believe so. But I'm gonna probably be spending a little bit of time looking into the Panhandle there and seeing what kind of ghosts I can dig up there.
So I want to ask you a question for the benefit of those watching, also myself. I've never asked you this. Since from the inception to this point, how many successes have you had? How many cases have you taken on? And how many
No,
successes would you say you've had?
I
Because
mean,
you're a one-man band, and I have a reason for asking you this question.
so I'm probably, I mean, if you counted my old TikToks, I generally, when I do a case, I make a video. So I would say I'm close to maybe 800 cases.
What are you telling me? One man has done, and this is what kind of time frame?
Into about a year and a half to 2 years.
What does that say about our law enforcement, Eric? You're one guy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. And I've had
These
you
things
know,
keep me up at night.
so I can't really count like an official solving of a case with law enforcement because most of the law enforcement's involved in hiding the case. Um, but I would
I've
say
heard
that
it all now. What do you mean hiding the case?
a lot of the law enforcement doesn't want to reopen some of these cases because of my dad's friends, the one running around killing everybody, or this politician's dirty doing this. Like they're it's a very tight knit, protect each other kind of state. It's very tight knit. The
Are
money,
you
the money
guys
definitely
watching
runs.
this show okay with what he is saying? You see what fuels the passion I have is the fact that, and that is a blatant admission to what I kind of say every week. If you are from that world, the law is not for you. Even in the police department, they are covering up crimes against people, maybe innocent people. I don't know the details because these people in positions of power feel empowered to do this and have no accountability. Eric, if you solved 800, or if you've kind of opened 800 cases in a year and a half, or even 2 years, what does that tell you about what's going on in this country? And we are
It,
paying taxes for every month.
So yeah, so I mean, it is discouraging, simply because I've done all this work. I've been able to make a lot of progress. I've collected a lot of intelligence, and I've done it without detectives. I've done it without forensics resources. And if I had more of those resources available to me, I could get a ton of convictions. Um, but unfortunately, they would rather threaten to kill me all the time and not let me in the state than help me solve cases. So
Is that what they're doing? They're threatening to
it,
kill
it
you?
never stops.
And they want to kill you because you're trying to get justice for the people who've been harmed and left to suffer.
Right. And Kentucky is also one of the most impoverished states in the United States. So they want to keep the poverty poor. They want to keep those people poor. And the higher, the elitist families in Kentucky in each county, they want to keep the king's ransom for themselves. So that's basically what they're protecting, these treasure chests that they've been holding on to in their counties for the last 100 years. And it's just it's an outplayed. I don't think they realize how far behind that they are compared to the rest of the United States. Like in Ohio, where I'm from, I've watched our state evolve and become a little bit better. Here in Georgia, there's a lot of evolution that happens here. I'm sure in New York and California, but in Kentucky, they just didn't want to evolve as a state. Their law enforcement still does things like the 1950s way, and it's not effective.
When I think of how oblivious the average American is to these types of stories, we wake up, we go to work, we do our routine, whatever that is for each individual person. And in this same world, in this same country, with the same policies and the same laws, there are people who are suffering and have no one to stand up to them because they're impoverished. And why are they impoverished? Some of these people are doing 2 and 3 jobs and are still impoverished because apparently our world or our country is set up this way. We have the slaves that work really hard and pay the money into the system. So, like Eric said, the people who are in the upper echelon can live big. And I am so grateful that I don't get to see it. Like, if I lived in that state and I saw it, I'm sure I would be dead because I would not be able to keep my tongue between my teeth and my mouth shut. Nothing drives me nuts like bullies, and there's so many of them. And part of why I do the show is to silence bullies. And I'll tell you guys a quick story why. I started my television career in a television station on the Google campus in California called KMVT. It's in the heart of the Silicon Valley, and the building was owned by Google. And I will never forget this. I met amazing people there because of our location and our proximity to those people. One day, apart from producing and hosting, I can do anything in television production. That's how I gained my experience. I worked on other people's shows. I crewed, I did everything in production. And one night, I was crewing someone's show, and a young lady was brought in a wheelchair because she was bullied. So for those of you who wonder where this fire and passion comes from in me, this is one of the reasons. Her mother brought her to the station to tell her story, to help other young people. And what had happened is she was being bullied in school. And although her parents saw something wrong and tried to get her to tell what was happening, she was afraid if she told her parents, they'd go to the school. She was already unpopular, that she'd be more unpopular, and she didn't tell them. And the bullying got out of control. She tried to kill herself. She slit her throat, was found in the bathroom, almost dead, didn't die, and is now a paraplegic. So there you go. That left an indelible mark on my mind. And as soon as I spot someone bullying another person or trying to bully me, I'm sure you can imagine how it ends when they try to bully me. I think you guys are getting to a pretty good glimpse of who I am when anyone tries to do me wrong. So yeah, that's where that comes from. Eric, we're down to 5 minutes, and I want that to be your 5 minutes. Because today I was blabbing a lot.
Well, for one, I'm leaving for New Orleans in the morning. I'm going to be there for 4 days, so I'm excited about that. It's my first real vacation in like a couple years now. So, going to do a lot of I'm going to go out on the bayou and hopefully wrestle some alligators. And what else will we be doing? Riding some four-wheelers. Then we're gonna do the whole Bourbon Street thing and go down through there and eat some good food and hopefully see what kind of good vibes we can find. So I'm excited about it. My hotel, I'm going to be staying in the Saint. And,
don't tell people where you're staying, Eric.
They want to come hang out, they can. But I'm still alive. Everybody knows what it is. But I'm excited to get down there and get away from the busy insanity that is Atlanta, and I'm still gonna make my daily TikTok videos, but that'll be early in the morning before all the fun starts.
And just make sure you come back for next week's update. When are you back?
Hopefully I'll have some fun stories to tell.
Yes, we can't wait to hear. And last thing, when is Victor coming on? You forgot about Victor.
No, he's still out there. I do need to get back a hold of him. So
I'm gonna send you a text and I'm gonna blow up your phone until you call Victor. I really want to do a segment with you and Victor.
Right. He's been working on the flock cameras lately.
Okay. So, Eric, what's your wrap-up message today for anyone watching?
I mean, we just need to continue to try to strive for a better future. We have to continue to hold these local politicians accountable. If we just keep turning a blind eye, we're never going to make this country better. We can't continue to look at each other, point fingers at each other if we're not going to address the real problems. You have to start at the bottom and then work your way up. Stop the pattern, the patternistic behavior at its root, and then you in 10 years we should have some better politicians that are helping look out for the betterment of the American people. So that's the whole goal behind it, is to stop the corruption so we can have 10 years from now, my grandkids can have a good future, not have to worry about corrupt politicians and people stealing taxpayer money and all that. So that's what we're trying to do. And just looking ahead to the future, everybody do your part. Don't stop voting in people that are crooks. Stop voting in people that don't have the American interest at heart, not whatever other special interests they're attached to. I don't care about that. I care about my neighbors. I care about my friends, my family, and just my fellow citizens in my community. Like I don't want to see this pattern continue, and we all have to do our part. I can't run around and save the whole country. Everybody's got to chip in a little bit.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for following us. Thank you for watching us. Before we go, I want to just say this quickly. We were raised in a world from childhood, we had no access to the kind of information we have now. So we were obligated to watch mainstream if we wanted to know what was happening in the world. My hope it wasn't as bad then as it is now. I believe with all the changes in the world and with more and more people waking up, those who operate the shadow government or the part of the government in the world that is not looking out for those who are not in the upper echelon, they're getting exposure now because a lot of people are curious because they are aware that they grew up in a world where dots didn't connect. And I decided I'm going to start making a list of the dots that didn't connect for me and share it and see if any of it resonates with you. And I believe that the time has come where we can't just look at something and go, yeah, that's wrong, and just turn away. And this is not a call to action. This is just saying to pay attention and to connect the dots. So when you understand, you could change anything that you might be doing that is helping this system to continue to perpetuate behaviors and different things that are affecting you and your family. And that's the only reason I say it so often. I know when I woke up, my life changed 100%. And I am so happy because now I make choices from a place of being informed. And information is power, but it's also heavy. Knowledge, sometimes when you can't unknow, but I would rather have it this way. Thank you, and we'll see you next week. And hopefully Eric will bring some goodies from New Orleans for us. Take care and stay safe. Bye.